this point is quite typical for 3-3 versus 3-3, but there's a little bit of room for experimentation. However, you usually will see Reinhardt's clash around this central pillar because it does afford a lot of cover for the Reinhardt model itself, meaning that you can occasionally rest your shield, as well as allow your teammates to play a couple of really good sightlines so they aren't victims of incoming Zenyatta fire. But also you can see teams go for alternate rotations around. Whoever may decide instead to play around the mega health pack, that could be quite common when you're playing a Sombra, of course. There's sort of like a triangle of power when it comes to the mega health packs, one in each of the sort of alcoves to the side, the buildings that afford you cover, and there's also one on the cliff face, which means that Sombras here, they can focus a lot on territory control if they want to keep their tanks nice and healed up. Those provide a lot of healing. 250 healing every 4 seconds is nothing to be sniffed at. That's more healing than you'd get from Brigida's repair pack, which is a crucial resource.
Yeah.
Both our teams, of course, going to be going out with the Sombra.
The Sombras can hack these health packs away, but the health packs are fairly far away from the point too, so you can just use that to retreat, of course. They're just going to run onto the point. Gen.G taking prime position so far. It's going to be about Doha and Stalker. Whoever can get really a hack off first. You can see in the back right of your screen, Doha going pretty low, has to translocate back. But they used that to jump on Oberon. There's nothing really he could do. Sparkle just kind of ran into him, gave him a couple of right clicks in the melee, and he was as good as dead. Unique trying to keep everybody alive, though, as the rest of Gen.G are forced off of the point. Dancer's going to go down, with Key falls as well, and Element Mystic find the first cap.
And when you have that advantage in terms of players, it means that Doha can just sort of like free farm up towards that EMP. He can be given the attention to try and chase him away, but when you know the remainder of your team is sort of like running onto him, and you still have 3 supports and 2 tanks behind you, you aren't going to feel pressured to translocate away, except for like now when you're deep into the enemy lines. That right click's going to send Doha packing very quickly. He'll get the repair pack, but won't take him long to build up towards the CMP, already 95%.
He's already got it, mate, and he's actually just translocated above them too. They're not careful, they could just get opened up with an EMP. It does land, 4 people are going to get inflicted. Oberon was in the front line, didn't get hacked, but he still went down, didn't matter. And DNA will end up going down as well, but Element Mystic do have man advantage currently, and there is no way you're getting out here, unfortunately, down. Unique does find the kill, and Gen.G will have to go once again. Do have an EMP of their own, of course, but Element Mystic, well, there's everybody hacks. They can just farm up their ults aplenty, and they've done just that.
When it comes to Story 3, we often talk about cyclical ult generation jaws. That can often happen when you use one ultimate to build up another, and that's exactly what's happened here for Element Mystic. They now have the Earthshatter and the Graviton Surge ready to go. Stalker's in the back, though. He's currently scouting out the position of Undine. Wants to be able to get this EMP. Undine, however, is just very close to that Transcendence.
A couple of percentage points off. He got the Trans online. He's going to be able to use it to save the rest of the team. Graviton Surge is going to get launched in as well on top of the Gen.G front line, and Danz ends up going down first. Alpha in a risky situation. He gets grabbed. He doesn't have the Trans to back him up. But now Unique has that beat to go, but might not even need to use it. Huyong and Oberon are going to fall fairly early on in the fight. And Element Mystic still winning these early engagements. It's like 85% now, Harry. And Element Mystic still have a Shadow. They still got another, well, they got another EMP, in fact. They've still got the sound barrier to really work with. Gen.G invested so much in that fight.
Clutch timing there as well from Sparkle, locking everyone up in the Graviton Surge. But once Stalker's EMP hit, they couldn't really follow up on it. Same from Undine, literally getting Transcendence for second the EMP hit. And look at how close they are to getting ults again. Overtime's in session, but it looks so dire for Gen.G.
Transcendence to force them onto point. That Shadow's going to hit the floor as soon as they get EMP. Fuse comes in, however, with the beat, but they all get grabbed. Fuse, they're all dead, in fact. Gen.G, in a blink of an eye, they were already gone. The perfect ult generation from Element Mystic, just holding on to them as well. Just meant they had so much for their last fight when Gen.G only had 2 support ults.
Absolutely, some great generation there from Sparkle and Undine. They just got a Trance and a Grav per fight. That's a huge amount of damage they're doing, and you can afford to do that when you are in these longer 3-3 fights, when you're up against 3 supports and those tanks who are so easy to farm up, especially if Oberon's surviving a little bit. He might not be getting a huge amount done, but what he can do is feed over a huge amount of ultimate charge. But look at this, Gen.G, they decided they don't want to take this Sombra versus Sombra matchup. Doha's just too good at Sombra. So we may decide to come out with the Orisa and with the Bastion instead.
Will Mystic run out on the ball here? Maybe, or will Alpha just switch over to the Reinhardt? It would be kind of cool to see ball here. You can knock people, obviously, down into the well. Reinhardt doesn't do a very good job of that. Just like Element Mystic are going to do it. Bit of a variation of the 3-3 here. Not going monkey goats. Oh, no. It's going to be ball goats. Jumping straight, head on in first.
Came in like a wrecking goat.
please, no. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy when the patch does roll around. See a little bit more Batiste.
Wiki's got huge start line control here, and also remember, Stalker is going to be suffering from damage drop-off, so those icicles will do full damage. An attempt there by Fuse, a cheeky play. Both teams going to sort of jostle for control here. Wuyo's going to begin capping.
Point gets unlocked. That ice wall just zoning out Doha, who's way in front of his team. The rest of them couldn't follow up. They didn't have mobility to maneuver around the wall, and he ends up getting taken down. Point getting capped by Gen.G as they move the shield onto it. Oberon trying to find a cheeky grab, but saving the thrusters. Habin did, so he was able to survive.
First cap here for Gen.G. They're going to have pole position now, and they will be able to set up this Bastion wherever they want it. They're going to be able to go up on top of Fear. Oh, this is going to be absolutely brutal, Jaws. Look at this. Wikid also has eyes on the back here if they try and flank
Alpha
around
doesn't
him.
know! He doesn't know, dude! He's going so low. The rest of Element Mystic finally find Wikid is perched up on the high ground. He's got tank configuration for him now as well, but he can just set up behind this shield. Sparkling is going to be able to do a fair amount of damage as he's very high charge. Wikid surviving though for the meantime. Defense Matrix doing a lot of work. Stalker's already dead. Alpha is going to fall as well. Wikid does end up going down. And now Gen.G have a lack of damage. It's only Huyal and Oberon that can really pump it all out. They have to just stall on the point at this time. Element Mystic still pushing their way on, getting a little capture progress, but all meanwhile, Gen.G is still able to rack up score.
Wuyo gets his mech back. Oberon is still on the point, so will not take a while to get this lodged here.
Transcendence is going to use. Habin is getting taken fairly low as the Mei was freezing him up. A Bongo is going to get placed down, and Wikid doing so much damage. Self-destruct launch right on top of him. Will it be able to get anybody? Yes, it does. Of course. Habin managed to sneak that one round the corner, although the rest of his team might be in a little bit of trouble as Stalker does use that Blizzard. He's going to be able to circle around this Ana and take her out. Element Mystic have a man advantage, but do they have the damage?
Great timing of the defense matrix there, eating up that sleep dart, and Gen.G, they were trying to brawl out really hard here, but eventually Element Mystic win this one out, and I've got to give a load of credit to Hanbin there, getting huge value from that self-destruct. He knew that the Bastion would be immobile. There was very little chance for Bastion to avoid that incoming self-destruct. Picks up the Supercharger as well. We know about the team fight win percentage when it comes to a Supercharger. It's so effective. Oberon's going to swap over, same for Stalker, over to the classic Winston 3-3 now. So we're going to be sort of jostling with Alpha here for space. He wants to come in and maybe put down a minefield behind them.
Mine's coming in, he's sneaking a peek around the corner. Got to be careful. Uses that propel to get a little bit of space, just jumps back to the rest of his team, just gets stunned, and now has to walk it out for a self-destruct. Gets launched in, finds Unique. Good start for Gen.G as they find two as Doha also goes down. Transcendence has been committed by Element Mystic. They need to be able to get back to this fight rather quickly. If Gen.G force them off at the point, they're going to be able to find the recap at an 80% as well.
Element Mystic's in a little bit disjointed there as well, and Dine pops the Transcendence. But Element Mystic aren't all together to receive that 300 healing that it can deliver to everyone within its radius. Gen.G now sitting in control. Not many ults to their name, but of course we'll have the Sound Barrier to match Unique. Alpha still holding on to that minefield, but Sparkle has the most important ultimate with Graviton Surge is ready to go.
Mine's coming in. Huyal is going to soak up a little with that. Just take a little bit off his health bar. Not too much of an issue. And Oberon clearing out the mines for the rest of his team, just using the left click. Graviton Surge gets thrown in. They can mix it with a self-destruct. Oberon's already dead. It's going to come straight on top of Gen.G's heads. Stalker and Fuse end up going down. They find the recap, but they're running at 50% to Gen.G's 99.
And that was really good from Alpha to use the power driver there to ensure that not only could he take off a lot of shield health from Fuse's Sound Barrier, but also that they would be locked in place if that Graviton dissipated in that moment, because of course they'd all be knocked up in the air, unable to escape from the destructive rays of the self-destruct. Gen.G now have to retake. They are at 99%, so one fight will do it for them. They may have a chance to build up their ultimates for a single fight, though, and then potentially take the 99 to 99 engagement with a very much favored type ultimate back.
Yeah, 95% now for Stalker on that Graviton Surge. Oberon is going to find a little flank on Habit as they do put themselves on the point. And Mystic look unwilling to fight this current time. And Oberon has got that Primal Rage as well. You've got to be extremely careful. Can knock people off down into the well. He's going to get punished a little bit. Transcendence going to get committed from Undine yet again so early on in the fight. His mines from Alpha do scatter all over the points. Huyal is going fairly low, but he gets the back off the rest of his team, and the Transcendence is going to get committed as well by Gen.G. Hubin and the rest of the team managed to find the flip, and now OT is ticking down. Hubin's going to go down as well. Huyal still got the self-destruct. Gen.G are going to plant themselves on the point. The rest of Element Mystic have to scatter. OT has to be forced out. The Brigitte manages to get an extra touch on the point to make sure the OT timer does tick back around, and Sparkle unleashes the Graviton Surge onto the point, but it's just trickling members for Element Mystic now, but it doesn't matter. Undine and Doha are going man mode, and now it's a 1v1, or maybe now 2v1 as Dance makes his way back. Hubin has made his way back as well, and Fuse just trying to get as much value as he can on the Lucio.
A desperate brawl here, but Gen.G is still in control. Jaws, Element Mystic have to stay on the point.
And Stalker is coming back on the Soldier. Sparkle going to come back on his Doomfist. Gen.G need to be able to stall this one out even more. Self-destruct manages to found the kill onto Huyal, but they haven't found the switch just yet. Sparkle jumps onto the Doomfist, finds a little bit of damage onto the Winston, but has to wait for his supports as well, who are only just making it back. They got the lack of healing, but Gen.G certainly don't as they lay down the sound barrier, and now Stalker can set up such a good position to layer down this fire from long range.
He's pumping out so much damage, but tracking Oberon's going in onto the Zen.
How does this fight last so long? A Transcendence is going to come out as well as those mines back onto the point. Alpha now taking control, but Gen.G have got a Transcendence of their own. They're able to clear out some of those mines using that Transcendence and the immortality that it provides, but a Tactical Visor is going to come out at the last couple of moments. Stalker gets completely denied, and Element Mystic finally clean up the rest of Gen.G. Stalker's dead, Huyal is going to fall as well, and only a couple of members left. Element Mystic managed to reconvene back on point as 6 and claim the map. Element Mystic with 1-0 up in the series.
What year is it? What season is it, Jaws? That was a lot longer than I expected to see Sparkle on Doomfist, but what an insane fight at the end there. A great job by Alpha as well, when he knew that Sparkle was in huge trouble from that long-range tactical visor from Stalker. Look at Alpha just rolling in from the side. He knows that he has the body block, so he's right in front of him, just taking up the entirety of his view. And then you've got a second line of defense as well. Hanbin and Alpha put their bodies between this DPS and Sparkle to ensure that he survives, and you can see that this team has been practicing the defense of Sparkle for so long when he was on that more vulnerable Doomfist.
He comes back in. I like the position of the meteor strike there as well. If anybody was going to touch from the sides and fly on in, he was going to splat them, basically. Happy to see Sparkle back on the Doomfist, I'm going to be honest. But that fight, that must have been like a 1 to 2 minute fight almost. It was just really the people getting back onto point. And Alpha did earn 2 minefields in that situation as well. Plus, those Zenyatas were able to earn the Transcendence fairly quickly, just sitting all the way back, healing people up, and obviously doing a whole lot of damage. Element Mystic 1-0 up in the series so far. Do not go anywhere, though. Map number 2 coming up soon. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Element Mystic versus Gen.G. Element Mystic taking the first map 1-0, or 2-0, sorry, I should say. Nepal.
It felt like a 2-1.
Yeah,
After
it felt like a
Sanctum.
3-map set, to be fair. That last fight lasted
That
almost a
that
whole
was
round,
an
it
entire
felt like.
stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, well, Element Mystic right now going to be updating with their resumes with problem-solving capabilities after being faced with that Bastion and coming up with so many different solutions to try and dislodge him. We had Sparkle basically platforming up onto one of those areas where they used the May wall to boost up the Orisa and the
And the
Bastion,
Bastion.
and they managed to circumnavigate the Orisa shield. The fact that it's more of a dome that only has a half circle, very much used to their advantage. They went for a long flank around, and they decided they were going to brave Wakit's DPS in order to just lay down more damage on him, try and force him out of that area. And it was Wakit whose nerve sort of broke first. It was like, I'm not going to survive this. I'm getting out of here,
Jumping
dudes.
down.
I'm gone.
More often than not, though, when you're in that situation, as we do move on to Blizzard World, of course, if you're in that situation, you don't necessarily have to win the fight because you are in control of the point. And all the meanwhile, the enemy has to build up ultimates and pressure you out and win a team fight in order to secure that map. So even if the Bastion wasn't getting kills and they were managing to just stall out for as long as possible using that Orisa, using even the tank form that did come out in the end, you're doing a good job. I mean, you don't have to get kills. Like, it does help, yes, but if you're stalling out, you're going to rack up such a great time bank in control, and then you're going to be able to go once again while the enemy has expended so much and actually gaining control back.
Yeah, they have to expend a huge amount in order just to try and dislodge that Bastion. And of course, one of the main assets that you'd count the Wrecking Ball as having, hello Wuyal, on the Torbjorn.
He might be doing...
One of the main assets would be the fact that Wuyal was counting on maybe getting some knockoffs into the pit, but Bastion can't have movement control applied to him while he's in Sentry form, does grip on very tightly to the ground, so he can put himself in some positions that would be very precarious for other heroes.
This is turret goats. Turret goats?
Oh, that's totes, dude.
Yeah, totes, yeah. Turret goats.
Totes amaze.
Totes, or Torb goats, which is also totes. This is perfect. Okay. Gen.G running out with the Torb on defense.
Can we build a goats?
Build a goats? Boat? No. Do we have a... No, we already have boats, right? I don't know. I hate those names so much. Well, just for formality's sake. It's Torbjorn 3-3.
Well, we'll have to see if the architecture will be enough to withstand the attack. Overwatch Mystic, who have come out on the usual Sombra 3-2-1.
They are going to go back to spawn. I think they're going to change up here. They kind of realize that Huyal not messing around on the Torb. Perhaps going.
He's serious, isn't he?
He is very serious. Okay, so they're just going straight 3-3 tonight. No Sombra today. The turret can do a lot of work to you in the back line, to be fair. If you try and go for a hack, like, it will interrupt more often than not. It is a hit scan with perfect aim.
Yeah, it definitely does a lot to kind of check on those Sombras who may decide to unstealth bind it. Then you either have to tank it with a hack, or you've got to try and get some sort of avoidance in.
Kind of curious where this turret is.
Huyal
finds two, though. Right-clicking past the shield. Alpha and Unique end up going down. That's what you want to see if you're the Torb. A double flame strike kill as well. Oh my goodness.
I know at the beginning of this series, they did tote Wuyal as one of the true flex. One of the true flexes we have in that flex tank Rolljaws. Usually they kind of end up being diva bots because she's so strong. But what can actually happen here is that Wuyal, he actually can play the Zarya, he can play the Diva, he can play the Sombra, and the Torbjorn as well. Let's have a little bit of a look at this. Wuyal, the double kill. Those shotgun blasts do a huge amount of damage.
They kind of missed the double kill at the start, but still nice to see a double flame strike at the kill feed. And then back to hammering the turret.
High octane replays. But
when we're jumping back in, the turret is still alive. Don't worry. It's still okay in the back line, doing a whole lot of damage. Element Mystic do manage to force out a tick, though. Gen.G are going to have to do a little something. Graviton Surge comes in, as well as that Shatter. There's no way you're going to survive that now. 2 ticks have been acquired as well. Now the last couple of members of Gen.G are going to get cleaned up. That's all it takes. Just the grab and the Shatter to be invested for Huyal on Torb to go down.
Great defensive fire strike there. Of course, Sparkle almost has his Graviton Surge used here. Stalker thought he could catch a load of people on that corner, and there was a huge amount of pressure coming out from Wuyal with that Torbjorn. Using a shotgun blast into the Reinhardt shield basically meant that Alpha was not having a good time keeping that shield up at all, especially when he was trying to survive on that corner. Sparkle, that was too aggressive, my dude.
So I'm going to use shield to make sure I can get lots of energy, and then instantly goes down. You've got to be careful. You cannot let the enemy notice that you have no shield available. You've got to bait it out. You've got to play mind games with them. It's like, yeah, I've still got personal barrier. There's no worries. Carter's going to move just a little bit around the corner, but Element Mystic Gonna have to push Gen.G on the high ground now, who have got that Shadow online.
Yeah, there's such a commanding position here for Gen.G. They can see any kind of entrance element Mystic wants to make, as well as check on the cart. It's going to be a full rotation around, so sort of like a swap here. Who's attacking? Who's defending? It looks like right now Element Mystic are going to be trying to make something work with this Graviton Surge.
They stop the payload moving back as well. Graviton Surge is available, like you said. Habit does get stunned as the hammer does get laid down. Graviton Surge locks people to the cart. Transcendence is going to save them, but that self-destruct might just land. Didn't actually enter the stratosphere once again as that shadow gets laid down again from Alpha, Wakid, Oberon. They're already dead. Element Mystic going to be able to regain control of the payload, stop it moving back, and continue its destination and continue its journey around Blizzard World.
Yeah, and thankfully they did get Stalker there, so he won't be able to keep that energy, but he will be able to keep that charge towards the Graviton Surge, which is now ready to go. That's going to be a primary win condition. And look at Element Mystic, they invested 6 ultimates in that last fight, Jaws. 6 ultimates for one team fight win isn't great value. That's definitely not a meal deal that they can brag about. Gen.G are going to be coming in with a commanding percentage play here. The chance they have of winning this next fight is so huge, and I doubt that this cart's really going to move at all in this fight.
It's like when you get Watsons for a meal, you just feel absolutely scammed. People just swinging into the Graviton Surge now. Oberon finds a nice couple of kills. Only needs to invest 1 in that fight. Like you said, Element Mystic had nothing to back them up. Car's still moving though.
And Dino was just sort of like camping out.
Yeah, he was like, I'm just going to move this car as much as possible. It's going to start trickling back, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Gen.G still with ults online. Oberon managed to get a whole lot of ult charge as well during that last fight, but Sparkle has got his grab online. However, they don't have that self-destruct to really deal with it. And Gen.G, they got 2 support ults ready to chuck into the next fight.
Yeah, Sparkle there was able to build up his grab by sort of self-staggering with a huge amount of energy, able to do a lot of damage, but sort of traded the time bank of Element Mystic to do so. They have 2 minutes left now, and of course, this main playmaking ultimate with the Graviton Surge, there it is.
Sparkle's going to throw it in. Remember, they haven't got really anything to combo with it. Arbiter is going to fake it out and launch himself up into the sky. Fuse sending himself out with the beat there. Oberon did receive it, but there was too much focus fire coming through from Element Mystic to really save him. Transcendence is now going to get committed. Self-destruct as well onto the payload. Destroys Alpha's shield. He lays down the shadow, though, as there's no shield to bear for Element Mystic. Oberon's going to come back into this engagement, but he's a little bit too far away right now to engage with the payload. And now Habin throwing that self-destruct to buy some more space. Graviton Surge on the payload. Alpha's being caught up. He does end up going down, or almost, in fact, as the Transcendence from Habin Undine to save his life for the time being. Stalker ends up falling. Who we are now, the last member on the payload, along with Fuse, but is going to get cleaned up rather readily. Element Mystic win the fight in the end of it all, and Gen.G staggered out so much here.
Huge investment required, though. Sparkle's actually got yet another Graviton ready. Remember, he opened up that last fight with a Graviton Surge. We're going to try and take out Stalker before he can use that energy for nefarious purposes. Will be an escape, though, for Wu Yo, and Oberon will rejoin with the remainder of their team. 2 minutes and 20 left on the clock now for Element Mystic, looking like they have a commanding lead over this next fight. It's going to be a lot of ultimates versus just a rally, but Transcendence, of course, will come through soon from Dance, and that will allow them to try and sustain themselves through that massive meatball within which they will be contained if Sparkle can land this Graviton.
How aggressive Oberon is playing right now, right up into the front line of Element Mystic. Doha ends up going down. He's got isolated off to the sidelines. Gen.G doesn't need to invest ults here whatsoever. Alpha just resetting himself. They knew as they lose Doha, they might as well go back. Don't want to invest anything themselves either. They do have a lot of ultimates online, of course.
Yeah, but he kind of caught him off guard there with his aggression, just used for rallying, just slams into Doha, who was completely unprepared for that, despite the ultimates that Element Mystic had available there. They're going to have to try and come in once again. They've got 4 ultimates, they are going to use the Graviton straight away.
Early grab, Shatter to try and stop the aggression of Gen.G. Oberon now just gets a nice...
3 down.
Yeah, gets laid on his back. Alpha just taking control of that fight. You saw Oberon just laying that shadow out like, okay, they can't aggress us now. They're all on their backs. Alpha just says not today, uses his own.
They're going to catch Fuse.
They do end up catching Fuse, and they do end up expending a lot of ultimates here. However, they do have 2 support ults available to stop Stalker getting off this next grab.
Gen.G needs to decide now. Do they wait for Fuse to respawn and join them to use that sand barrier behind them, or do they go in underhand? It looks like 5 men at the moment. Fuse going to use the sand barrier at the back. Everyone gets it.
Going to push in. Graviton Surge is going to get used. Instant Transcendence. 2 self-destructs get launched up into the skies. Habin finds 1. However, the other self-destruct from Gen.G wasn't quite so lucky as Fuse and Oberon end up going down. And now it's all about Elimistic just stabilizing on this point to make sure they can fight as 6 for the next incoming fights. Staggers for Gen.G onto the payload as Oberon does end up falling. Wiki finds a nice kill onto Undine, but is it going to be enough? Elimistic now bullying the back line, but Wiki taking the game into his own hands. He's used that rally. He's almost indestructible as he takes down Alpha. Happen is also going to fall. Mystic now have 20 seconds to reconvene on this payload, but it's not only a couple of meters now from being delivered.
You can rarely talk about Brigitte as being the difference maker, but there was definitely Brigitte. What an impressive rally he managed to get out and make himself basically this invincible shield maiden, the guardian of the cart, not allowing it to move forward. Overtime's almost in session. They got a touch in the next 3 seconds. Jaw's handbin will trigger it, but Sparkle needs to get that grab.
They've managed to touch. The shatter comes out.
4
down. 3
down
on their floor. Doha falls, and no one's able to catch the payload. Graviton Surge gets thrown out straight on top of Oberon, but it's too little too late. Mystic don't manage to get to that payload. Overtime gets depleted, and hey, would you look at that? Gen.G now have a perfect win condition set in their sights. The map will end here. 2 points on the board and 109 meters. You can see Oberon, he just steps to the side, and Alpha's positioning here is so aggressive, but the rest of his team weren't quite lined up behind him. And that was it. You can see OT ticking through. There was nothing Mystic could do to touch that. You can't charge. Well, you can charge in, but it looked like Alpha had already used that charge to get a bit more ground. And now Gen.G are on the offense. Mystic on the defense.
Yeah, the driver's seat definitely being commandeered here by Gen.G. And that's one of the first huge shadows we've actually seen from Oberon throughout the last 2 maps. It feels more like Alpha has Oberon's number, getting a couple of counter shadows blocking out from here and there. Not a huge amount of value. Asmodunk.
I'm trying to figure out if that's the 3rd boss in the Burning Crusade raid where you get Ashes of Allah. I can't remember his name.
Asmodan is from Diablo.
Oh, wow.
He's for Lord of Avarice, and he's the Act 3 final boss.
Oh.
For those of you who want to brush up on their Blizzard lore, and Asmodunk is a skin from Heroes of the Storm.
Oh. I thought it was the 2nd boss.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Tempest Keep.
That's full marks, and that's my extra credit from Blizzard. Checks in the mail for plugging Diablo 3.
Checks in the mail.
I do love that game. But anyway, what I'm loving right now is this Overwatch game. We are going to get a little bit of a scout start off. Just want to allow Doha to get that sort of early poke with this Sombra. Mystic going back to their tried and true here. Gen.G may have to be careful with how they are going to check this aggression, but Dance doesn't want to play on the Zenyatta here. You got to remember that the Ana, not only as affected by the EMP, doesn't lose any shielding in terms of health, but does have that sleep dance to try and bring down Doha, and also doesn't rely on abilities for healing, just has to press M1.
Yeah, not only that, the nade can't be eaten by a D.Va because Mystic aren't running the D.Va, they are running the Sombra instead. Dance taken fairly low. They have to really take out him. There's so much healing available to them. They're going to be able to put themselves on the payload, or on the point, I should say, and get a free tick. That's the aggression I was talking about. Dance does end up going down, but they lose Alpha in the process, which is so bad. That's such a bad trade. That's an even worse one, in fact, as Gen.G end up losing Oberon as well. All they need to do in that situation was stabilize. They weren't able to do it. Wiki also ends up falling, and then the Mystic are going to be able to clean Gen.G off of this point. However, not before securing 2 tick.
Only a single tick, Jaws. Unfortunately, they were about 1.1% away from getting that 2nd tick. About as close, but you would not recognize the difference, unfortunately. But I'm sure Gen.G will be feeling that as they go in for their 2nd attack. Mystic, however, they have that EMP ready to go once again, so they could definitely facilitate some aggression here. You saw how Dance was the primary target, was trying to dance, as his name would suggest, around one of those pillars.
Nice EMP. Dance doesn't get inflicted. However, the rest of the team do. No shields to really bear now. One ult wonder for Mystic in that fight. Don't really need to choose anything else. And Doha, this is why he's such a good Sombra as well. Not only is his tracking just insane, but he's able to build up so much ult charge, and his avenues of attack, although it can be fairly dangerous if you are a Sombra going up against an Nano who's got a very pesky sleep dart that can just end your life rather easily, but he's just so good at making sure he gets so much ult charge before these fights start. Already up to 40% for this next push.
Integral to a good Sombra play, of course, is the understanding of how to use line of sight, and with that EMP getting 5 members, that was a good understanding of how we could play around that sort of area. Mystic built up 5 ultimates here, and look, Sparkle with an early grab.
Oh, right on top of the rocks as well. They're going to use the beat to make sure they try and survive. Fire grenade landed as well. Nano boost onto Oberon. He goes straight into the grab, but he was actually halted. Shield bash, so he couldn't get the pin. A Transcendence to make sure Mystic survived now, but a beautiful timed fire grenade does land on 3 members of EM. Hubin,
6-man.
He's going to go down, but a 6-man EMP will signal the end of the team fight. Doha landing it big, does manage to stop Gen.G in their tracks once again. Hubin was so close to going down, by the way. That's what I kind of miscalled him actually falling. But the rest of his team were able to corral around him and make sure he did survive for this oncoming EMP. They may have invested a lot, but Sparkle earned himself another Graviton Surge in this fight. And now Gen.G, they have a minute and a big stagger as well onto Dance. Doha finds yet another kill.
This can't be allowed. That was so messy for Element Mystic as well. They were hoping to do it with just a Graviton Surge, but ended up investing all 6 of their ultimates. Doha now is
He's going to do it again.
Oh, he's going to try the assassination. You can't allow
no, he's got armor.
The early repair pack, though. That will dissipate rather quickly, Jaws.
It will, but he got armor, and he was able to save at least a little bit of damage coming on fourth. Does mean Sparkle now had a bit of time to build up that Graviton Surge. He's got that one ready and raring to go.
We need an eat and grab, Jaws. No one's been able to do it yet. There is going to be a movement onto a point here from Gen.G. The early grab again.
No grab. They got kind of halted in midair. Wiki gets intersected in that grab and gets taken out. Oberon's going to go down as well. 20 seconds now remain. They're going to have to rely on someone actually touching. They have to die quickly, otherwise they're not going to get back to this point, and Element Mystic will claim the map.
Wuyar's not going to be a factor in that fight either.
It's
He's going to be staggered out. They've got to try and get to a point. Wuyar, turn around, my dude. He is going to be executed by Sparkle. Doha may be able to stop their push entirely as well with the EMP, but won't have a speed boost to get there. Alpha, he's
Alpha's
setting up as well.
Oh no! The hack in midair from Fuse, and he ends up going down. He does manage to touch the point, yes. An overtime will come out. An OT push for Gen.G won't be enough as Doha once again finds a massive EMP. Mixed with the shadow, there was no way they could get back, and Element Mystic domination on both maps. Take Blizzard World and put the series on their backs. 2-0 up right now and match point.
When we talk about 3-3 and we talk about Overwatch, Jaws, we often like to think about it having a rhythm, an ebb and a flow, sort of like an orchestra all playing together. And right now, Doha, he's definitely the conductor. He's able to really control the tempo of how these fights go. That hack onto Fuse as well, ensuring that once he got onto point, he had no evasive capabilities enabled. He was just sort of like standing on the ground like, where's my mobility at? Where's my healing? Where is my song?
Unfortunately so, they do end up going down. Gen.G not looking so hot right now. Element Mystic quite the opposite. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.